All right, last thing we'll end before we get into our pick'em. Here is my punishment with my students for losing. By the way, Nico had to ask too. It's a Gary Kubiak jersey.
I don't understand why someone would, unless I know Gary Kubiak personally, I would never buy a brand new, because that looked like the Nike.
It was the nicest jersey that I've had on in a while.
It was the Nike one that released last year. So they had to get a Gary Kubiak back jersey.
I have a little bit more of the backstory. I'll let the video play out and I'll tell the backstory. I asked the same question. I was like, you realize Gary Kubiak stopped playing before I was even alive, right? He was the coach by the time I was born, and that would be the same thing for you. But here's my punishment: 25 push-ups for the 25 points that the Broncos lost by, or won by, excuse me.
2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, what's it? Because I want to bet with him. What is he going to?
Everybody can get a little bit of a glimpse of what it's like to be in a 7th grade classroom. They never stop talking. It's always something going on. The backstory is they're best friends. They ordered a customized Kubiak jersey, and the company that sent him it mixed up and sent him 2. The kid's dad had 2 Cortland Sutton jerseys, so he's like, hey, Kubiak's kind of cool. It's kind of out there. I will trade you one of my extra Sutton jerseys for one of your extra Gary Kubiak jerseys. So there was a swap. So now there are 2 people that walk around with a Gary Kubiak jersey and a Cortland Sutton jersey in their repertoire.
He wasn't even a starter here. He was a
career backup.
It's one thing to have a Jake Plummer jersey that he started a couple years here, or like a Tim Tebow jersey that the dude won a playoff game here. It's another thing to have a Jake Browning jersey. That's the only people that should have a Jake Browning jersey, his wife and family. The only people that should have a Gary Kubiak jersey, and maybe it's kind of cool because he was a coach for a Super Bowl team here, but that's buying the manager's jersey in baseball. Right? Why am I going to do that?
No, it was great because then he would see me throughout the day. He's like, Broncos jersey looks good on you. It's like, dude, I grew up in Colorado, so it's not like I haven't worn a Broncos jersey before. It's not like
you wore the team too. They played at one of the first songs they played for the defense, and I'm like, can we not do something different? By the way, which I think this is a fun stat that I saw today. The Broncos won their last 7 home games. That's awesome. Yeah. It's amazing seeing that Mile High Magic back home and seeing that it's a tough place to come back into and play. So that's a great kudos to the team and fans.
People say that September, October are actually harder to play, and besides Miami in December, because you go from the cold to the hot and you're not used to it. But September and October in Colorado, and as people who have played football at those times, even going to Castle Rock, which is only 1,000 feet difference elevation, is a difference when you're playing at the preseason tournaments in September. You get out of breath, and it definitely affected the want to of most of the Bengals players. I don't want to call anybody out for poor effort, but like you could see it on the TV, you could see it standing on the game. Like people were just calling themselves out. I'm going to go get on the oxygen tank a little bit early, get my backup in here. He can use some extra reps. Speaking of extra reps, I have an extra slot on my record. It was a bad weekend for me. I had a couple losses.
Actually, it wasn't bad. You went 2-1-1.
The
over, you hit the over. You actually hit the over at 42.5. The Patriots basically did that to themselves.
Yeah,
I
was thinking I was just in a bad way because I was getting my ass kicked by you so bad at fantasy football. Sunday was not fun for me, so I wasn't necessarily paying all that close of attention. But Nico still on an immaculate season, 15-1 is incredible. We'll see how.
I think it hurts me the most because that one killed me in my Survivor League. I like 15-1. But it hurts me even just
it's damn impressive. It's so impressive. Nico, people think we don't know ball. I took 15 pages of notes watching that Bronco game last night. You texted me it. We were around this football game to be able to pick up a thing or two that's a little bit more than just somebody sitting there watching the game at the bar. And as we do that, like minds think alike, I'll go through our like games and then I'll let you down the rest of your list that's different. I did not go with any overs or unders because it's been scaring me a little bit too much. But we have the Lions over the Bengals, and I think that we have it's very easy to tell why if you've listened to this podcast up until this point.
Pray for Jake Browning.
Honestly, let's pray that somebody else plays quarterback for the Bengals because we might as well see what anybody else has.
You know who the backup is?
Mike White.
No. Brett was the backup. 11 ripping out there. I was like, wait a second. That's Brett ripping. I was that's fun.
At this point, with the way that I know this game is probably going to go, because it isn't to have Jahmyr Gibbs on your fantasy roster. So if you're like me and have Jahmyr Gibbs as your first round pick,
J.K. Dobbins rushed for 100 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs may get 350.
And how many is he going to get catching balls out of the backfield? No pause on that. Like it's going to go over from the very beginning of this thing. I love the logo, so
You need to trade for Jameis Winston so bad. Like I
I'll take Shador.
I don't think it would come there. I think Jameis is like the best option. If Zach's to save his job, he is begging and pleading on his knees.
Then I don't want it, Nico. I'm at the point where if it's gonna.
I'm just saying that's what Zach Taylor should be doing.
And if you're a true Bengals fan, you should be at this point too, because we know what tweets of this guy. It is whatever number 9 is capable of doing. We know what the limit is.
The team is also 2-0 with Zach Taylor this year. And I told you last week or 2 weeks ago, Joe Burrow getting injured saves Zach Taylor's job.
If
that's
any hatred towards the players with how they played, you will get rid of that coaching staff, because that is the reason why you have the blow-ups on the sidelines from Chase. You can't get the ball to T. Higgins. This team has now resided itself to the fact that they're going to try and keep everything close and just hopefully have a chance to score at the end and maybe win a game. I've played on teams in college at that. You know what? None of those coaching staffs made it past that season. And I know it's different in the NFL, and I know that this organization runs itself differently. If they have any semblance of self-respect, that franchise will make a coaching change, but we all know that it's not going to happen. So it's just me shouting at Aaron.
It's 1 year too late, because look at the top candidates. Last year, look at the top candidates this year. Ben Johnson, if he had this team, could you imagine what would have happened?
Yeah, right now it's
the Bears are good at football. And
right now, I think the Bengals are looking at Cignetti, like how committed are you to college football? Probably some coordinators we don't know the names of yet.
You want to know probably the tops are Brian Flores, Vance Joseph.
My goodness, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could deal with Vance as a head coach for the second time.
Yeah, I would. Flores would probably be. I would say Flores is probably the number 1 guy.
But he's also gonna put a hit out on Joe Burrow and probably break into his house himself, because we all know he feels about his starting quarterbacks as a head coach. Yeah, no, it's bad. Just go through this year list and then I'll hit my games, because we are all different from here on out.
I took Giants with Saints. This is not necessarily picking on the Giants. The Saints still are horrible. I mean, look, they at least needed a game or half of a game against Buffalo, so good for Spencer Rattler there. I'm
0-10 in his career, by the way.
I'm Dart Scatterboo Kool-Aid. I understand Neighbors is injured. I think Dart should win this football game. I think I picked one as a backup quarterback in one of my leagues.
I was going to say he's one of my starters now.
As he should
solidified himself as one of my starters, even though he's listed as questionable. But that would also mean, depending on how things shake out, I might have weeks where I'm starting J.J. McCarthy and Jackson Dart. My best.
I mean, except Jackson Dart, he played a lot of moxie. He's got to learn how to slide. I love what they're using out of Scatterboo. Oh my gosh, watching that man run the football.
That dude needs to lead with his forehead, because he's going to end up.
If there's anyone in football that needs to wear a guardian cap, it's Cam Scatterboo. Yeah. I for wearing them in a game. Scatterboo should be the one doing it. That's the only one that should be able to do it.
Him and the Georgia receiver that went over the top with the Chris Benoit headbutt on
that's
4th and goal.
Both of them. The third one, I pick Buffalo every single week. Buffalo over New England until Buffalo wears me here. New England got a big last week. New England, Diggs has done much better. I think Drake May is getting more comfortable. I just am not a believer in what Drake May is doing yet, and I still think that offensively they're not opening the running game up. They're barely Henderson. It's been Ramondre Stevenson for the most part for them. So I think Buffalo will win that game. Like I might put Buffalo on here every single week until it loses. Then I took Arizona over Arizona. That Thursday night game showed me a lot. I'll be honest with you. The couple drops of Marvin Harrison was a little bit head scratcher. But at the end of it, Kyler led some drives down the field that were really impressive. Marvin Harrison was getting into the mix. Obviously, having Trey McBride, who's a tight end in football, in my opinion, helps a lot. This defense, they still identity, but they shut down Seattle for the most part in that second half. So I just think that Arizona is a better spot. Tennessee, Brian Callahan may be dumber than Zach Taylor. Then they came from the same coaching tree.
Callahan was Taylor's OC for a long time.
Exactly. So he may be just as dumb, because Callahan, I don't know what he's doing in Tennessee.
He's about as bad as Brian Kelly with arguing with reporters instead of coaching his team.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Arizona, New York, and or the Giants, not New York. Can't say New York because I will not take the Jets. I've taken that ownership since the show started. I don't think I've ever been the Jets in a pick 'em. And then the Detroit Lions.
I think that you have some good things. I just hope that Drake May can continue to throw it to Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs, because that helps out my fantasy team. But I've seen him throw 4 interceptions and still let those guys score 30 points. So I'm with it on that. My games, I have beating Minnesota. This is being played in London, so that's part of my reasoning. Minnesota did
Do you know who the
not.
starting quarterback is?
I know it's Dylan Gabriel now. That's also another reason because
Rookie push.
rookie push. It is also now you have a rookie quarterback against Brian Flores, and he's also left-handed, and he's also a little bit shorter. Oh, and by the way, he's also from Hawaii. So all of those things that I was saying about him hating Joe Burrow, the quarterback that he almost ran out of Miami, all of those things as well. A little bit shorter, left-handed from Hawaii. I'm still going to go. I think that the Browns defense is good enough to dominate Carson Wentz and this Vikings offense. Isaiah Rodgers still owns me. I have to say that legally every time that I talk about the Vikings. But I do think that this one, if I'm going to take a wild pick and get myself back into this thing, if Niko's going to keep it in one, that one would be an awesome one to hit on. I'm helping you out a little bit because the Raiders were close against the Bears, but I think that this is a Colts get right game because they gave that game away. They could have beaten the Rams and been continuing to be undefeated. They have been.
That was a very fun game too. I will say that was a very fun game to watch too. Both those teams are very.
No, it could have been either way, but the Colts had every opportunity to win that game, and they finally feel what that tastes like. They suffered their first loss. I think that that defense might cause Geno Smith to get benched because Geno has not been good. He's throwing way too many interceptions.
Is O'Connell still there?
I have honestly zero idea. Zach Mettenberger, Christian Hackenberg. Name another Penn State that Pete Carroll might have kept around in his reserves. This game, I think that the Chargers get bounced back against the Commanders. I think that Jaden Daniels is expected to be back. Whether or not he's playing, this team showed a lot of holes. So until he can show me that those holes are filled, that's what the Chargers will take advantage of. They will run the football. Justin Herbert is playing. It's just different. I've seen him now play against the Chiefs in the Sao Paulo game, against the Broncos. There were some heroic plays. They were mentioning it on the local stations here. It was like he was in the Wanted movie where they're able to bend the bullets. He literally threw a touchdown pass to Keenan Allen around Nick Bonito's head that went straight behind Nick Bonito instead of going, and there was no curve on the thing. Justin Herbert, I think I have enough faith in him to stake my claim. I think that they get over the Commanders. I was high on the Commanders last week. I'm not as high on them as I was this week. So outside of the Lions over the Bengals, Browns beating the Vikings, Colts beating the Raiders, and the Chargers taking out
the only
Washington
one that I
Commanders.
feel on for you is the Browns because I feel like the Vikings could make them be duels like
all those I said about the comparisons to Tua really sunk home, didn't they? Yeah. I honestly was talking myself out of pick as I was going through it. I was like, "Fuck!" I texted that the wrong way.
Oh man, yeah, it's going to be a that I like all those. I was considering half of those. I don't know. I just like the Commanders a better football team than, like I said. I like to bet against bad teams. That's my thing. Not only good against bad teams.
And by the way, the last time you said that the Browns wouldn't win, they knocked you out of your survivor pool.
This is true. This is true. This is very
not
true.
Not on the wound.
They are the reason why I lost.
I felt like we spent 45 salt in my wound with the Bengals and Broncos game. So I deserve that one there. Let's talk about the rumors of the week.